Arrays can define as arrays within array. 2D arrays erected as matrices, which is a collection of rows and columns. And if there is a definition, 2D array stores the data in columns and rows like a table or matrices. We can see verticals are columns and horizontals are rows. How to assign 2D arrays? First of all, you have to choose the data types: integer, maybe char, maybe float, but only at a time only one we can use, either char, either float, either anything data type. I use integer. First one is rows, second one is a columns, and this is when the assigning. First one is a curly bracket, then another curly bracket, and I write down there is items. Unnecessary to mention dimension of second, but it is not necessary to mention the dimension of first. It is optional. This lines code from there. Now I will be write loop for bracket, and I is equals to 0, j is equals to less than 2, and I plus plus, it means increment of I expression. And inside this for loop there is another for loop, int j is equals to 0, and j is less than equal to 2, j is less than 3, and we have increment expression. Here there a loop iterates 3 times, I equals to 0 to I equals to 1, to access the two inner arrays of two-dimensional array. And the inner for loop iterates 3 times from j is equal to 0 to j is equals to 2, to access the 3 elements of both the inner arrays. Now inside the inner for the loop, I will now print the element at the index ing. So print f bracket inside quotation %t comma array of inside the square bracket I and j. I will now run this code. As you can see, the elements of multidimensional array are printed. The outer for loop run 2 times from I is equal to 0 to I is equals to 1, and in each iteration of outer loop the inner loop runs 3 times from j is equals to 0 to j is equals to 2. Initially the value of I and j is equals to 0. So array of ij prints the first element, that is 1. Now in the second iteration the inner loop of value j is increased to 1, and the array ij becomes 0 0 1, and it prints the second elements 3 on the screen. In this way, the inner loop runs 3 times to access all 3 elements of the first array. After that, the condition of inner loop becomes false. So the inner loop dominates. Now the program control moves to the outer loop. The value of I becomes 1, and again the inner loop restarts from j is equals to 0 to j is equals to 2. This time array ij becomes array 100, array 11, and array 12, which gives the first, second, and third element of the secondary. To help visualize the output more clearly, let me print a new line after the inner loop. So print f, I will break the line here. I will run this program. You can see the output is printed in the